Hi everyone, Kevin here. We're back with topic number 5 in module 3. We covered the beginning of this module in class. Let's go on and talk about crushing and pressing in this video. This is a Crusher-Destemmer. This is a professional unit, and the way they work is the grapes are dropped into this hopper here at the top of the machine. The grapes go down through the inside of this and then into the inside of this cylinder here that has all these circular perforations on it. Inside the cylinder are a group of paddles, and you can see one of them here. The cylinder rotates in one direction and the paddles go in the opposite direction. The grape clusters are inside the cylinder and they're pushed up against the inside of the cylinder by the paddles. So grapes pop through these perforations, pop through these holes, and they fall down to the bottom of the Crusher-Destemmer where they're collected. The stems come all the way through and they fall out the end, and usually they're collected in a big bin and sent off for composting. So that's a basic Crusher-Destemmer. There are various models, but they all work about the same. Now down in the middle here where the grapes fall, inside this square box here are some rollers. Oh, before I show you the rollers, here's the inside of a good look at the inside of the Crusher-Destemmer, the cylinder. And there's another look, and you can see those paddles that are going to push the grape bunches right up against the inside of the cylinder. So each one of the paddles here will push the grapes against the inside of the cylinder. There are a couple of videos to watch. These are linked in Canvas. The first one doesn't have very good production quality, but shows you a little bit about how the paddles and the inside of the cylinder work. The second one's a little better and gives you a nice overview of the whole process. Here finally are the rollers. So these are in that square box at the base of the Crusher-Destemmer. So we'd be either looking down from above onto these rollers or up from below. And the grapes actually pass through the middle of the rollers. All right, so the rollers, one of them rotates in one direction, the other rotates in the opposite direction, and they will push the berries between the rollers, and that's what crushes the berries. So that's what we're looking for here, is to liberate the juice from inside the skins of the grapes. This gives the yeast access to the juice so they can start the fermentation process. It also tears the skins, and in red wines, that's a good thing. You don't want too much tearing because you can extract some more bitterness. You don't want to crush the seeds too much because those contain the smaller phenolic compounds that tend to be bitter. But you want to break open the skins a bit in order to start extracting the color, the flavor, and the tannins from the skins. Winemakers can choose how far apart these rollers are, so you can change this gap here that between the two rollers, and you can make that wide or small. You can even take the rollers out altogether and just live with the amount of crushing you get by the process of destemming. When those berries are pushed up against the inside of that big cylinder, the berries fall through the perforations in the cylinder. They get a little bit of crushing then, and for some winemakers that's enough. They don't want to extract too much from the skins. They don't want to risk crushing the seeds, and so they won't use the rollers at all. At each step in the winemaking process, though, winemakers have choices like this. Do you use the rollers or not? So you as chemists can look at the chemical makeup of the wine that results, and then you can go back and say, all right, do I like the result? How did I use the rollers this year, and what impact did that have on the level of tannins in the wine, the level of color in the wine, the amount of bitterness in the wine? And then you can make decisions for next year. Maybe you change how you use the rollers. But the lab analysis, the chemical analysis, can inform every process in winemaking. The rollers are above a bin like this. This would be the Crusher-Destemmer up at the top of this picture here. We're just seeing the bottom of it, the Crusher-Destemmer. The grapes would fall down into this hopper here, and then this would be a pump that's going to pump the grapes off to the crushed grapes. Now we call it must, the combination of the crushed grapes, the juice, the crushed skins, the juice, and the seeds. We call that must, and that is pumped off to a tank if you're fermenting red wines, because you'd ferment in contact with the skins. If it's a white wine, you'd pump the must to the press, because you're going to press the juice away from the skins immediately after crushing, because you want to ferment the white wine without the skins. So, lots of decisions along the way. One possibility is you don't use the Crusher-Destemmer at all. Instead, you do whole cluster pressing. What that means is you take the whole clusters and put them right in the wine press, and we'll talk about the press shortly. And the press is what breaks open the grapes and pushes the juice out of the grapes, and the juice is collected, and the skins and the stems are left behind in the press. The advantage is, as soon as you break open, as soon as the pressure of the press breaks open the berries, the juice drains out away from the stems and away from the skin. So you get very little contact with the skin, which means you extract from the skin less phenolics, less possibility of harsh compounds getting into your juice. And the difference is if you crush and destem, you have the juice sitting in contact with those crushed skins for a little while, at least as long as it takes to pump the must from the Crusher-Destemmer to the press, and then start the press to press the juice away from the skins. So with whole cluster pressing, we can just accelerate the process of separating juice from skins. Whole cluster pressing is often used for Chardonnay. It's sometimes used for other delicate white wines, and it's often used for making sparkling wine or champagne. Again, you don't want to extract in these delicate white wines or in champagne any harsh compounds from the skins of the grapes. Another option is the type of pump you're going to use, or just use gravity. Some people don't pump after they crush and destem. They just go into a hopper. You can take that hopper then and lift it by a forklift and dump it into your fermentation tank or into the press. Or you could actually have a multi-level winery, and so you might crush on one level and let the grapes or the must fall by gravity down to the lower level where you do the fermentation or maybe press. So lots of choices. Let's leave it right there for this video, and we'll pick up optical sorting in the next video. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.